It's 3 in the morning and you wake up burning. Your skin is hot, your sheets are damp, and somewhere in the fog of exhaustion, your hand is already reaching for the medicine drawer. The instinct is almost universal: stop the fever and make the number go down. But there is a strange biological paradox happening to you in that exact moment. While your skin is hot to the touch, you are shivering and desperate to bury yourself under a duvet. Your body hasn't malfunctioned. Deep in your brain, the hypothalamus acts like the thermostat on your wall. When an infection takes hold, your brain deliberately turns it up, shifting your internal target from 37 degrees Celsius to a new, higher goal. Because your body is now measuring itself against that higher target, you feel freezing. The shaking and the chills are your physical machinery racing to catch up and generate the heat your brain is now demanding. This process requires a massive amount of energy. For every single degree Celsius your temperature rises, your metabolism speeds up by 10 to 12.5%. Your body is burning fuel and oxygen at a much higher rate. Because evolution rarely selects for such expensive biological accidents, we can conclude the fever is a calculated, chosen response by your immune system. If your body is spending this much energy to turn up the heat on purpose, then our immediate reflex to shut it down with a pill might be working against the very system trying to save us. The cycle begins when immune cells called macrophages detect invaders and release chemical messengers called pyrogens into your blood. These messengers trigger the production of a molecule called prostaglandin E2, which travels to the hypothalamus and physically adjusts that internal thermostat dial. While we often assume the heat is meant to cook the bacteria, the more significant effect is on your own defenses. Your immune system performs better when the temperature climbs. Cross 38.5 degrees Celsius and immune cells flip into a higher gear. Heat shock protein 90 acts as an internal switch, arming your T cells with microscopic grappling hooks. These let cells grip blood vessel walls, pull themselves out, and enter infected tissue. The heat acts as a signal that tells your immune cells where to go and gives them the physical tools required to reach the front lines. Physicians observed the power of this heat long before they understood the cellular mechanics. In the early 1900s, Julius Wagner Jauregg noticed that patients with untreatable infections often improved after catching a separate illness that caused a high fever. He began deliberately infecting terminal patients with malaria to trigger extreme, controlled fevers. It was a dangerous trade-off, but it was often successful. His success in using fever to heal conditions that were previously considered hopeless earned him the Nobel Prize in 1927. Today, we have moved away from this respect for heat. Modern fever-reducing medicines work by blocking the specific enzyme that allows your brain to turn up the thermostat in the first place. A study in an intensive care unit highlighted the potential risks of this habit. Researchers compared patients receiving aggressive fever suppression to those whose fevers were left mostly alone. This trial was halted early after an interim check revealed 7 deaths in the group receiving aggressive fever treatment, compared to only 1 death in the group allowed to run a fever. While this was a specific study of critically ill patients, it suggests that our reflexive urge to prioritize comfort might sometimes interfere with the body's primary defense system. Of course, fever is not a universal friend. There is a specific point where heat stops being a defense and begins to pose a threat. That line sits at 40 degrees Celsius, or 104 Fahrenheit. Above this threshold, blood flow to the gut drops, and the risk of strain on your liver and kidneys rises significantly. There is also a major difference between a regulated fever and hyperthermia. In a fever, your brain has chosen a higher set point. In hyperthermia, your brain has lost the ability to control your temperature at all. The goal is to evaluate the whole patient, rather than just the number on a thermometer. A feverish person who is hydrated and responsive is telling a very different story than one who is limp and unreachable. Rest and fluids provide the necessary fuel for your body to sustain this high-energy internal defense. The next time you feel that warmth rising, try to see it for what it usually is. It is your immune system lighting the furnace, calling in reinforcements, and spending real energy to win a fight it has been practicing for millions of years.